I'm excited. Uh, it's a Thursday, and I have one more day of work tomorrow, and then I have 2 full weeks off. The first full vacation that I've had in a long time. And the timing is kind of strange. It's too bad that neither Yumiko nor Emily can enjoy the time off at the same time. The 3 big projects that I went to my current job to do are all finishing at the same time. So I'll be closing down all 3 of them in the month of September. And all main activities are finishing this week. So I kind of timed it to take a couple weeks off to recalibrate, recuperate, and prepare for the next endeavors. So I'm kind of getting a nice evening here of reading one more day tomorrow and then back at it. And I'm getting close to the end of less than 100 pages now of Seneca's epistles. I've spent a lot of time on this book. It's been a month now. I think I started on August 2nd. So today's September 2nd. So it's pretty rare for me to go a full month on a book. But it's been that good. That's the reason. Not because it's been slow reading, but it's just been such good reading. Very, very good. Anyway, I'm reading this epistle right in here, this letter, titled On Quiet and Study. And I wanted to share with you the anecdote that Seneca uses in a letter to his friend Lucilius. The anecdote regarding his current mode of living relative to peace and quiet and study. In particular, Seneca opens the letter by talking about his current life circumstance and where he lives, his residence being just above a bathhouse. So let's read just a little bit and get the picture. On quiet and study. Beshrew me if I think anything more requisite than silence for a man who secludes himself in order to study. Imagine what a variety of noises reverberates about my ears. I have lodgings right over a bathing establishment. So picture to yourself the assortment of sounds which are strong enough to make me hate my very powers of hearing. So, he's talking about silence being important for study. And imagine the circumstance that he's in, living above a bathhouse, where he wishes sometimes that he just couldn't even hear. When you're strenuous, and now he's going to describe the sounds that he hears from below in the bathhouse, which is amazing to consider that you're getting first-person account of the sounds of a Roman bathhouse from almost 2,000 years ago. So picture to yourself the assortment of sounds which are strong enough to make me hate my very powers of hearing. When your strenuous gentleman, for example, is exercising himself by flourishing laden weights, pumping iron. When he is working hard, or else pretends to be working hard, I can hear him grunt. And whenever he releases his imprisoned breath, I can hear him panting in wheezy and high-pitched tones. People are people. They don't change very much, huh? You've got that Iron Man, guy over there, the Atlas, in the gold gym, picking up the big weights, straining. And Seneca can hear this from above in his chambers, in his quarters above the bathhouse. Or perhaps I notice some lazy fellow, content with a cheap rub-down, and hear the crack of the pummeling hand on his shoulder, varying in sound accordingly as the hand is laid on flat or hollow. So he's got the guy who's, not working out himself, but just getting a massage, a rub, and he can hear the masseuse pounding him down, pop, 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 and the sound varies according to whether the hand is flat or cupped. You can hear it, can't you? Then perhaps a professional comes along shouting out the score. That is the finishing touch. Apparently this is a reference to someone who kind of does the counting of the slaps and indicates that you're done, you've had enough, you move on, right? Because you're paying somebody to do that. I had to look that up. I didn't understand that. Add to this the arresting of an occasional roisterer or pickpocket, the racket of the man who, let's just leave it at that, the roisterer or pickpocket. So 2 words there that I had to look up because I didn't know. The first was beshrew, which began the paragraph, apparently means leading into excess, into depravity. And roisterer apparently is someone who's a reveler, right? So Add to this the arresting of an occasional roisterer or pickpocket. So equivalent of Roman police, or picking out some pickpocket from the bath, right? Or someone who's making a little too much noise, maybe had a little too much to drink. The racket of the man who always likes to own his. This is the one. This is so just world, right? This is just shows that then and now are basically the same. Or the enthusiast. Oh, there we go. Add to this the arresting of an occasional roisterer or pickpocket, the racket of the man who always likes to hear his own voice in the bathroom, or the enthusiast who plunges into the swimming tank with unconscionable noise and splashing. So hearing the person who likes to hear themselves talk in the bathroom, maybe for the echoing sounds. If you've ever been into a Japanese onsen or a sento, a public bath, you'll hear that. The voice coming through. I remember one time sitting in a public bath, a sento, not a ryokan. It was in kind of a low-end neighborhood. I didn't know it at the time, where I had an apartment. I did the very first time I went to Japan, and some Yakuza came in. Usually Yakuza aren't allowed into those places because of their tattoos, but this was a place that apparently catered to them. I didn't know that. And I got a Yakuza on either side of me, quite evident by all their tattoos. And I remember not being innocent and not knowing better, and commenting how impressed I was by their tattoos. And they brought that to bear, the loud voices as they were talking to one another on either side of me. The innocent, ignorant gaijin who didn't know better. So and the man who always likes to hear his own voice in the bathroom, could that be the man or woman that sings in the tub, right? Because for the same reason. Or the enthusiast who plunges into the swimming tank with unconscionable noise and splashing. Can't you just hear it? Can't you just see the person just splashing in, right? All this again, Seneca's upstairs trying to study. All this is happening down below. Besides all those whose voices, if nothing else, are good, imagine the hair plucker. Okay, besides all those voices, if nothing else, are good, imagine the hair plucker with his penetrating, shrill voice. Hair plucker? Apparently that was a profession in ancient Rome. Someone who went around and plucked your hairs, right? And they had this shrill voice to announce their presence and advertise their services, right? Similar to in Japan, where we would have the various hawkers, right? The fish hawker, the knife sharpener, the potato vendor, all those things with their various tones and sounds. And apparently the hair plucker has a penetrating, shrill voice. So you're down, he's upstairs, Seneca, and you can hear all these other noises, and also the shrill advertising voice of the hair plucker. For purposes, okay, so one more time with that. Besides all those whose voices, if nothing else, are good, besides all those whose voices, if nothing else, are good, imagine the hair plucker with his penetrating, shrill voice, for purposes of advertisement, continually giving it vent, and never holding his tongue except when he is, I love this, plucking the armpits and making his victim yell instead. So the hair plucker is always making noise except when his customer can do it for him, because he's plucking the armpit hair. And you can imagine how painful that would be. More good advertising. Then the cake seller with his varied cries, the sausage man, the confectioner, and all the vendors of food hawking their wares, each with his own distinctive intonation. So beautiful opening to the epistle there, that letter to Lucilius, describing Seneca's circumstances living above that. Now, if you go on and read this a little more, you learn that Seneca deliberately chose this location. Seneca was, at this point in his life, a man of great wealth. He would certainly probably be considered a millionaire, maybe even in the billionaire class by relative standards, or hundreds of millions. He was very wealthy. He could live anywhere he wanted. Interesting thing for a Stoic who you seemingly eschew wealth, but nevertheless. But he chose deliberately to live above such an establishment. And if you read on, you learn that he chose it deliberately so that he would be able to train himself to find his balance, his inner balance, in spite of, not by hiding away from, but in spite of and in the presence of such circumstance. Thereby, if he was able to study in a room above such din, how much more invulnerable he would be to the real world outside of his home, and ready to endure endure isn't even in the word, right? That would be a very Stoic way to say endure. It would be to because the Stoics do not endure fortune, they embrace fortune. They recognize what is the inevitable and accept it as the way it will be, and go that route, which is one of the reasons why so many Stoics could go to their death seemingly at ease. And then, so if you read a little further in, so it goes a couple more pages where Seneca is talking to Lucilius about how it is worthwhile to find such circumstances to exercise, test, and temper our ability to accept the reality around us. And before the end of the letter, he says the following to Lucilius: You may therefore be sure that you are at peace with yourself when no noise reaches you, when no word shakes you out of yourself, whether it be of flattery or of threat, or merely an empty sound buzzing about you with unmeaning din. There's the lesson, right? That the ability to arrive at a place in life where whatever is happening around us is simply what is happening around us, and our equanimity is not in danger in such circumstances. A worthy aim, I think. It's not one of resignation, but I think more one of recognition of what is really happening and accepting that fact, and continuing to live and move on through that. Oh, hi, hey Chris, hi. Hey, do you want to be on camera for just a sec?
I don't have a whole lot of time. I just came to drop these off.
Just come say hi. Are you okay? This is on YouTube. I'm making a YouTube video.
Okay.
Are you shy about that?
No, I'm okay.
I'm going to introduce you. Come lean down here. This is Emily's boyfriend, Chris.
Hi.
And he just came by to say hi, and I just wanted to put you on making a video, so I just wanted to put it up, and I want to introduce everybody to you. This is a real good quality guy. You can see he brought me flowers, and I really do appreciate that so much. You know, but I prefer roses, or lilacs, actually.
I'm not gonna lie, I tried to go for roses, but they were all dead. So.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go because I know you got more important people to talk to. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. Well, welcome back. Chris is off to his university, and I didn't realize he was back, so he's coming by to see Emily, and he brought flowers. How sweet! And here comes the dogs. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for dropping by. I hope everybody's really well, and remember, be safe out there, but not too safe. Looking forward to these next 2 weeks out. Maybe I'll be out in the desert and doing other things. See all the cacophony of noise going on? I don't know if you can hear it. Here comes the dogs, boyfriends, people walking. It is life, and we just live it. Right? Want to say hi, little Rudy? Okay, let's play. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.